What's up guys, ArchAngel Manga here, and I'm bringing you my top 10 favourite Seinen Manga series. Last week I did my top 10 favourite Shonen Manga series, so yeah, I'm going to do my top 10 favourite Seinen Manga series. A few things to keep in mind is that the titles I'm going to be featuring in this video are my current top 10, so, you know, once I get a little bit through my backlog, or get completely through my backlog, you know, the top 10 will be completely subject to change. You know, if and when I end up doing an update on this video, which I probably will, like in the next, 6 months or something like that. Some of the titles that'll be on this list might, now might not even be in my top 10, when I do it in, the next couple of months or whatever. So yeah, for those of you who regularly watch my videos, some of the titles that you see in this, will be quite predictable, knowing that you're familiar with like my tastes and, things that I'm into, so yeah, let's get started. At number 10, quite a surprise. I didn't think I'd like it that much, but yeah, Appleseed by Shiro Masamune. This is an absolutely excellent seinen series, and it's only 4 volumes long, I believe. I've got all 4 volumes, but I don't have the hyper notes and the Appleseed ID, so I don't know if they're part of the story or just like extras or something like that. But yeah, the only reason why this is here is because it's the only Shiro Masamune work that I've read. I own Ghost in the Shell, the manga, volume 1 and 1.5, but I haven't read them yet because obviously it's still in my backlog. But yeah, Appleseed, about 2 police officers, Dune Newt and Briar Rios, who basically enter this city called Olympus after World War III, and just, try and combat terrorism and corruption and things like that. It's really, really, really good. It's very, very politically infused. And it's definitely something that anybody could enjoy, especially if you're a fan of Shiro Masamune. At number 9, we have the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service by Eiji Otsuka and Husu Yamazaki. This is a very, very, very dark and gritty seinen series dealing with death and corpses, about a group of Buddhist students who take on jobs from dead clients who wish for their souls to be absolved, or things that they haven't completed, before dying, and basically these 4 students or 5 students complete jobs, in order to tend to the dead's last or final wishes, so to say. But there's a lot of very violent and gory scenes, and this is very dark. So yeah, Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service at number 9. Number 8, we have A Bride Story by Kaoru Mori. Surprisingly, this is actually a seinen. I thought it might have been a josei, considering it's about like marriage and things like that, and it's just basically, it's a slice of life, like a historical slice of life set in Asia Minor in the late 19th century, and it's basically about an English anthropologist and historian living with tribes and nomadic people around like the Caspian Sea, and just learning about their culture and going from place to place, just basically learning just to fund his research and things like that. So it's very, very interesting. The artwork is gorgeous. Number 7, I believe it's number 7 now, 10, 9, 8, yeah, 7. We have What a Wonderful World by Ennio Asano. Did a review on this like last summer. It's only a 2 volume long series, but it's very, very, very good. It's a vignette, a series of 10 intersecting vignettes set in one town about like social pressure, educational pressure, just things that people go through in their daily lives, with a little bit of a supernatural twist towards the end. But yeah, Ennio Asano is very, very, very good storyteller and a very good artist to boot. Reason why this is in here is because I haven't read Soul Landing yet, so I mean, although I've heard that Soul Landing is better, I can't really speak because this is the only Ennio Asano work that I've read. I obviously own Soul Landing, but again, in my backlog. Next, coming in at number 6, we have Neon Genesis Evangelion. Some may think that this is a shonen. Although the start of the story is shonen, it gradually moves on into seinen, like towards like the mid to later volumes. But yeah, this is an absolute classic. I've seen all of the anime. I haven't read all of the manga yet. I'm only on I'm on volume 9. Which is like volume 3 in the Visbigs, so I've still got the last Visbig to read, and then there's 2 extra volumes that have been released, not in 3-in-1 format yet, because volume 14, I think it's volume 14, is still waiting to be released in English. But yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion, the anime that redefined the mech genre in the 90s. This is the manga adaptation, obviously, because, you know, unusually, usually it's the other way around. Usually animes are adapted from mangas, but this is a manga adapted from the Gainax anime. So yeah, excellent Gainax series there. Coming at number 5, I think. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, yeah, 5 is another one I've talked about. That's Ikigami, The Ultimate Limit. A suspense thriller, basically about an alternate version of Japan, modern Japan, which is basically under totalitarian rule by the government, and they basically select somebody every day to die in order to you know, keep the crime level low and keep everybody under control and make all the citizens obedient. And the main character is a guy who delivers the death papers, the Ikigami death notices, and notifies people like when they're going to die 24 hours before they do die. And it's just following him, like, you know, battling with himself and, you know, his morals and all that kind of thing. So very, very good series. Coming in at number 4, a series I read a very long time ago, Battle Royale. It's a really good series. The artwork is really good. You know, there are some annoying characters in it, but for the suspense and the thrill that you get while you're reading it, because you know that people are going to be, you know, killed off left, right, and centre. And there's really cool enemies like Kiriyama and, you know, Mitsuko. I'm not sure. I think this is adapted from the novel. I think the novel came first, and then, you know, there was a manga adaptation and the live action films. But yeah, not Ikigami, I'm still talking about Ikigami. Battle Royale, a very classic series that needs to be reprinted, because obviously it was licensed by Tokyo Pop, which is just renownedly defunct. But yeah, the manga definitely needs a reboot. With, you know, maybe Viz or Vertical or something like that. Let's see, coming in at number 3, another classic series which I haven't talked about on this channel yet, and that's Akira, or Akira, however you want to pronounce it. This is a 6-volume long series. If you haven't seen the theatrical release, then I highly recommend reading the manga first and then watching the film afterwards, because the manga goes into so much more detail about the story and the characters. I mean, don't get me wrong, the film is good, and I watched the film first and really enjoyed it, and then read the manga and realised how inferior the film was to the manga. But yeah, you know, classic cyberpunk manga by the master of, you know, one of the masters of manga creating, Katsuhiro Otomo. You know, cyberpunk set in Neo Tokyo, like in the future after World War III. You know, you've got kids with psychic powers, you know, corrupt military, you know, motorcycle gangs battling each other, all this crazy stuff going on. But yeah, Akira, definitely read that. Coming in at number 2, we have, I think this is one of my first reviews on this channel. That's 20th Century Boys by Naoki Urasawa. This is just, it's near perfect. I can't express anymore how brilliant this series is. It's, if you consider 21st Century Boys, well, it's like a 24-volume long series about a group of kids in the 1960s who, you know, as like a joke, kind of prophesize like the world ending in the future and them having to save the world from like some, you know, evil mastermind, and then gradually as they get over they realise that these prophecies that they, you know, whimsically thought up as they were kids are gradually starting to come true, and it's a race against time to try and save the world from an evil sort of self-help cult, you know, led by this enigmatic faceless figure called the Friend. And it is just an absolute masterpiece. I highly recommend 20th Century Boys, and that's why it's at my number 2. And my number 1, before I reveal my number 1, I'm going to give a few honourable mentions, because there are a few series, and you know, doing this list was very hard, so I'm going to have to give a few honourable mentions to series that I haven't put in this list, not because they're any worse than these series that are already here, because, well, I'll just explain. My first honourable mention is 7 Billion Needles. You know, obviously I go on about this a lot in some of my videos. The only reason why this isn't in my top 10 seinen list is because I'm not exactly sure if it's seinen or shonen. So I didn't want to just throw it in there, you know, mislead people into believing that it's a seinen series, because I genuinely don't know. I've tried to look up to see if it's a shonen series or a seinen series, and I just can't find any information, you know, like a Wikipedia page or anything like that, and it doesn't say anything about it in the book. Maybe if I find out what magazine it was printed in, and then find out from there, because usually like manga's published in comic manga anthologies over in Japan first before it's released in like tankobon format. So if I find out what magazine it was released in, I can find out what demographic it was targeted at. So yeah, that's my first honourable mention. Second honourable mention, this is obviously an absolute masterpiece also, and that's Monster by Naoki Urasawa. Only reason this isn't in my top 10 is because out of the two Naoki Urasawa series that I've read, I prefer 20th Century Boys more, and I didn't want to have two series by the same author in a top 10 list, so I guess you could say this is like joint whatever second place with 20th Century Boys, because it also is an excellent series. And now my final honourable mention is Vagabond by Takehiko Inoue. The biggest reason why this isn't in the top 10, I mean obviously it has amazing art and it does have an amazing story, it's a biographical piece about the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi, but it does suffer heavily in my opinion with pacing issues. That there's a lot of like samurai battles and things like that, and battles of the mind and things like that, but sometimes it can get bogged down with like philosophical, I don't want to say jargon, but like samurai related philosophical matters, and people overthinking things. I don't want to say overthinking things either. I'm not criticising this series at all, but if I did have to say one criticism, the pacing is a little bit slow at times for me. The part where it is now in the manga, like volume 10, which is like volume 30, it's only just gotten to a point where it's like 1 year ahead from where it started, and it took 30 volumes to do that, so the pacing is a little bit slow for my liking, but I do love the series. So now on to my final, my number one, that's Parasite by Hitoshi Iwaki. Probably the reason why this is at my number one probably is mostly because it's one of the series I've recently finished, so it's still fresh in my memory. But it is an absolute, masterpiece. Basically about alien parasite invaders that come down and steal people's heads and become that person, blending with human society and feed off humans at the same time. And then Shinichi, the main character, ends up with a parasite in his arm which doesn't steal his brain. So he's aware that these parasites are on Earth, killing people, and he's really the only one who knows about it, and he's trying to think of a way of saving the human race while at the same time being blackmailed by this parasite that's in his arm, because basically if he tries to tell anybody, the parasite will kill his family. So it's a battle of wits, and a battle of the self, and it's very emotionally driven. I highly recommend Parasite to anybody. And yeah, that has been my top 10 seinen manga list. Obviously, as I say always, recommend me anything that I haven't read already. I'm going to be getting through my backlog. I'm going to try to speed through it a little bit quicker. So until then, ArchAngel Manga.